Welcome, welcome once again to All In on Big North Hockey. Another great show today. In fact, not only that, but we are going to be talking about the Big North once again. And this is conference week, the conference, the conference week, as we mentioned, in all of the sports, all of the hockey in the Big North. A lot to go over, of course, in that sense. Today, Pascack Valley, Pascack Hills, Park Ridge ended up playing West Milford, Pequannock, Pompton Lakes, and they ended up losing 7-0, as it was a huge night from the WPQBL goaltender in Matt Montana. He had 32 stops, but massive amount of scoring by Pascack Park Ridge. Star of the show was Owen Dargan. He had 2 assists. He had a goal. Jack Sheehan also had 2 goals and an assist as well in that game and in that win for Pascack Park Ridge. And this is the conference week, as we were mentioning, as the Gold and Silver Cup is going on this week. The semifinals are tomorrow. The finals are expected on Friday. All of them will be in Ice Vault. We got confirmation on that. So let's start with the Silver Cup quarterfinals. And we start with the 1v8 spot. This was the nightcap of all of the quarterfinal games. And it was actually an interesting one. It was a game that started out more back and forth as you would have expected. We're talking about Old Tapan, Demorest, New Milford, and Lakeland Hawthorne Waldwick. Lakeland Hawthorne Waldwick was the runner up last year, but Jet Garashi, we haven't talked about all year, started the scoring for the Northern Valley squad, and then William Park with an assist from Colton Lathrop and David Propakayev. Ryan Van Allen, who is going to be the captain of this LHW team next year, definitely been their leader, got a goal, as well as Reed Nyhuis for Lakeland Hawthorne Waldwick. A great pass by Andrew Galland. And then Alexander Labe gave North Valley the lead back, and then they never really allowed much of anything for LHW. LHW did get a goal in the third by Andrew Galland from Ryan Van Allen. Those are the two big, strong guys offensively for their hockey club. But it just wasn't LHW's night. It hasn't been LHW's season. Any shot at all from the dark they had of making the postseason disappeared with that loss. But still, valiant effort to make it close and really battle with this Ultapan squad, who's had some really strong wins. And now I move over to the 5-4 game. This game I did see. And it was Tenafly Cresca against Clifton United. This was a really interesting one because Clifton United never trailed, but going into the third period, every time they would score a goal, TCL would respond. Troy Canals was really strong from the point, but some of the other guys, like John Lee, was really good. Charlie Simone was strong. And John Lee had a goal in the second period. Simone had a goal as well from Luke and Henley. Canals did, but it was actually Ryan Montana's brother, Michael Montana, who are the big time goal scorers here. The Montanas combined for 4 goals. Michael Montana had He had 2 goals. He had 2 assists. 4-point night for him. Ryan Montana had 2 goals and an assist. 3-point night, including one of them into the empty netter. A great backhander to put the game away. And Landon Friedman, the freshman, battled, but Clifton United just a bit too strong. And so they move on to the semifinals to meet Tenafly Cresca-Leonia. We'll do our semifinal predictions in a little bit. PCTI, I didn't see the game, but I was hearing at it when I was at Ice Vault. You could hear how loud it was. And Ramsey Indian Hills threw everything at PCTI. Just couldn't get anything going. They had 24 shots on Stylianessis, who had a shutout. Sebastian Rusin scored an empty netter from Braden Shamble, and Zach Soder from Rusin and Caden Avella got what ended up being the game-winning goal with 12:54 left in the second period, early second period goal, and that ended up being the game winner for PCTI. And so a shutout over Ramsey Indian Hills. And so they move on to the semifinals as well. And this was the other game that I saw. Paramus, the Battle of Paramus. Paramus, Lyndhurst Mawa. They met Paramus Catholic, and we said the Paladins could pressure. They started out pretty strong in this first period. Brian Rapparelli forced a turnover. Stolars was really going, setting the puck well, moving it behind the net, not allowing a lot of high-quality shots. But then PLM just got going. I mean, Giovanni Massi had a brace. Lamanowicz made a great play from the blue line. JVR, James Fonnell Reed, not a lot of goal scoring. He didn't score a goal, but he was great vision with passing the puck. Bellin had 2 goals, and they actually kept Kadow at check for most of the game. But in the third period, he just blew the doors down. A goal and an assist, and a dominant PLM 6-1 win over Paramus Catholic, revenge for losing to them earlier in the year. And so now they move over to take on PCTI. So all the top seeds in the Silver Cup, after a lot of upsets last year, all the top seeds in the Silver Cup do advance to the Silver Cup semi-finals. So there you have that. Now we'll move over to the Gold Cup here. And there you got the Gold Cup. We'll start with Ridgewood and West Milford, Pequannock, Pompton Lakes. Well, you talk about a streaky team. WPQPL lost today 7-0 to Pascack Park Ridge, a team that wanted to book them. But they go out to play Ridgewood in this game, which was earlier, and they really had some great offensive chances, despite the fact that Oliver Grant only faced 23 shots. Ridgewood threw 70 shots on Matt Montana. 9 goals out of 70 shots. I mean, they threw the kitchen sink, the house, the property, the state at Matt Montana. And Montana played well, despite the fact that this WPQPL defense gave up 9 goals. Marcus Braun started the scoring, a point guy, then Timmy Ritchie, then Will Lazaro, then Joe Barquario, then Furman, AJ Lazaro, Tim Ritchie again, and AJ Lazaro, Sherman. That made it a 3-goal lead for Ridgewood, but then Barquario and D made it a 1-goal game. AJ Lazaro again. I mean, D and Ritchie, and then at that point the game was tied, and then Ridgewood just took it over with Will Lazaro. The Lazaros combined together for a whopping 12 points. Will Lazaro, game of his life, a hat trick and 4 assists for the sophomore. The 7-point night. His older brother AJ also had a hat trick. He had 3 goals and 2 assists for a 5-point night. And boy, this was not a goaltender's game. So Ridgewood survives the test, and they meet the winner of Pascack Valley, Park Ridge, and Ramapo. And the Raiders won 1-0 in this game. Theo Herman, their top leading goal scorer, on a game I heard very controversial. Early in the third, Herman from Grower scores the only goal of the game. They put up 18 shots on Le Hero. Pascack Valley Park Ridge does. Le Hero made 18 with a shutout and 27 stops for Rothschild. He just couldn't stop that one shot by Herman. And there were some penalties that maybe shouldn't have been called. That's what I heard, but whatever you want to say, that's what it was. And Ramapo will meet Ridgewood. Yes, again. Again, they meet Ridgewood for the third time this year. As we know, Ridgewood's beaten them twice in the regular season. And now they're going to meet for a third time in the Big North Gold Cup semifinals. This one I was at, this is the only Gold Cup game I was at. Farallon-Dumont Bergenfield, the first lower seed to win. And it goes to overtime in a great goalie game. This is another goaltender game. Egan and Feinstein were tremendous. In fact, this was on a Friday night. Game ended around 10 o'clock at night, and they had an 11 a.m. game in Prudential Center the next night where Wayne Hockey ended up beating Farallon-Dumont Bergenfield 5-2. But not on this night. Farallon-Dumont Bergenfield, they scored first. Dylan Ferlanti chopped right in front of the net. It was a double team that went to Devin Bittner, and Bittner had a great backhand pass over to Ferlanti. Although I have to say, I don't know if he had any points. Oh, he did. He had an assist. Zach Worth, I thought, was the best player in this game. Didn't have a lot of stuff on the statistics side of things, but he had a boatload of hits. He had some great poke checks. He blocked a couple shots and started to set the tone for Farallon-Dumont Bergenfield. He helped free up the puck as well with Bittner that got the pass over to Ferlanti. And then Nate Ashkenazi, who was struggling with the speed game and controlling the puck, just slams a one-timer from the left circle to tie it, but it goes to overtime. Ferlanti has a breakaway, looking for a second goal. Great stop by Egan, but then he just comes right at the side of the net. And I think there was a third guy coming to tie up Ferlanti. He makes the easy passes. The second time, the double team comes, and they make the easy set pass right to the tape of Devin Bittner, who hammers it home for an electric overtime stunner of Wayne Hockey. And so Farallon-Dumont Bergenfield advanced to the semifinals. Would they face their divisional rivals in Riverdale Westwood Emerson? They would not, because the Highlanders finally got off the schneid. Northern Highlands with a great offensive performance. They win at 7-3. Davin Friedman has a hat trick. We'll be talking about him later as well. Friedman had a 3.93 goals. Also a 3.9 by Connor Cusado, a goal and 2 assists. Bestwick had an assist. So did Joey Castellano. And Ben Barada led the way in points with 4 points, 3 assists, and a goal for Barada. Reckner did not start. Aluado did. And Kaimov gets the win. 24 shots that RDWE had on him, 21 stops for the young netminder of Northern Highlands. So Northern Highlands will face Farallon-Dumont Bergenfield, and we mentioned 8 matchups in the quarterfinals. 7 of them, the top seed won. So not like last year, we had a lot of bottom seeds with upsets. No, the only bottom seed that ended up winning was 6 seed Farallon-Dumont Bergenfield. And so they'll take on Northern Highlands tomorrow. And we'll have predictions on that at the end of the show. So that was the Gold Cup, and now we're going to move on to the public state playoffs. What would they look like if the playoffs started today, we should mention this is the final if they started of this show. Next week will be the state playoffs. It's not going to start. We still have the regular season. Still, I think we're going to have some divisions that have to be clinched that could or could not be clinched depending on what happens. But not next week, but the week after, around either Monday or Tuesday, the 23rd, 24th, somewhere around there, the state playoffs will start. But next week, we will have the seeds. The cutoff of the state playoffs is officially Sunday at noon. Now, there are no games scheduled for Saturday. The silver and gold cups are likely going to be the final games, but there's a possibility teams that didn't get to the final of conferences, they might try a late schedule to get some games scheduled in on Saturday. They have to do it soon. I don't see any games that way right now. Right now, as it's scheduled, the latest hockey game, although the Gold and Silver Cups have not been scheduled, the latest hockey game is an 8-10 game between Bernard, Somerville, Middlesex, and Gill St. Bernard's in the MCSIHL. The latest game concerning Big North teams is Nutley, Columbia, Bloomfield, and Riverdale, Westwood, Emerson. Morristown is scheduled to play Clifton that day as well. That game will go on if Clifton United do not win against the Old Tappan tryout. But if they do beat Northern Valley Hockey, then that game obviously is going to be scrapped, and Clifton United will be playing in the Silver Cup final against the Paramus Triop or PCTI, which, if it's Clifton United PCTI, that'd be an all Passaic County Silver Cup final, which could be interesting, which was kind of what it was last year. It was the Lakeland Triop and the West Milford Triop. Now, yes, Waldwick is from Bergen County and Pequannock is from Morris, but same thing kind of applies there. But those are the way that is. Also, Tenafly, Cresca, Leonia, and Colonia, JFK, Iceland, Woodbridge, another team knocked out of their conference. That from the that doesn't exist, not the BCC, sorry. That from the GMC conference, the Kolodny Cup, that they've been eliminated. So that would occur, but there possibly are some games that could be scheduled for Friday, for Saturday. We have to wait and see. But the cutoff is officially Sunday at noon. And then the brackets would be unveiled and seeded Tuesday morning. Today was the unveiling of the brackets for wrestling. That ended up occurring around, I think, 11:30 in the morning. So we'll definitely have it for next show. But anyway, playoffs were to start today. And they're all on the top side of the bracket. Ridgewood would stay with the number one seed. So if they can win some more games, they should be able to stay in front despite Livingston behind them and Northern Highlands and Randolph and all that. But Ridgewood will be the number one seed. They would face 16 seed Montclair. Fun story about Montclair. After they've struggled this season, they had a outdoor pond rink, just like fun practice, which is really cool because most hockey players started playing on the pond. So we're out in Montclair doing that. Nice. But the Mounties would travel to Ice House at Hackensack to take on Ridgewood. Again, it's a big North MCSIHL matchup, 8-9. Ramapo would travel to Menin Arena to take on 8 seed Chatham. That team already out of their conference playoffs as well, out of the Menin Cup. Montclair is playing right now, currently in their cup, in the Kelly Cup quarterfinals, but they're not likely to win against Frisch Academy, but still got to play the game. 4 seed Northern Highlands would have a playoff rematch from last year in the first round against 13 seed, another MCSIHL team from the Halvard Sin Division, Montville. They actually have a semifinal in their cup tomorrow against West Morris Central. And then the final game would be 5 seed, again, MCSIHL Big North, 5 seed Morristown from Menin Arena hosting 12 seed PCTI at Menon Arena. So there you go for the public North Finals. By the way, monitor Paramus Catholic. They don't have any more games scheduled on their docket, but if they want to schedule one or two, it may behoove them. They're only 2 spots behind a couple teams like St. Peter's Prep. They want to move up to get to the state playoffs. If not, then they'll miss the postseason. But still no non-public bracket because they didn't, make it. But we'll see what happens with Paramus Catholic. Let's move on to the North Public Co-op. Not as many matchups so far, but there you go. The 8 seed, 9 seed has Riverdale Westwood Emerson, who are obviously not in their conference playoffs anymore in the Gold Cup. They would host from the Ice House in Hackensack Park Regional, who are in their cup playoffs. Their Park Regional is hosting Madison tomorrow in the Halverson semifinals. But Riverdale Westwood Emerson would host Park Regional. That is the co-op from the MCSIHL, made up of Hanover Park and Whippany Park. Paramus, Mawa, again, I'm pretty sure this team plays at the Ice House in Hackensack. They also do play at times in Ice Vault, but I believe that that this game would be in Hackensack. They would host West Milford, Pequannock, Pompton Lakes as the 4 seed and WMPQPL as the 13 seed. Some of the losses, and that's a divisional matchup. Actually, not only a Big North matchup in the state playoffs, but that would be a divisional matchup in the state playoffs. Although remember, WMPQPL has swept the season series. Then you've got at the number 3 seed facing the 14 would be another Big North matchup. Pascack Park Ridge Hockey would host, because the rest of these are all Big North matchups, would host 14 seed Clifton United. I believe they have played before, and Pascack Park Ridge beat them. Crossover in the state playoffs from the Freedom and Patriot divisions. That would be at Sportorama in Muncie, New York. From the Palisades Mall, another crossover between the Patriot and the Freedom. It would be 6 seed Old Tappan Demarest New Milford hosting 11 seed Oh, no, sorry about that. It was 7 seed. I got that right. 7 seed Old Tappan Demarest New Milford hosting 10 seed Fairlawn Dumont Bergenfield in the Palisades Mall. And this time, another Big North matchup. 2 seed Wayne Hockey would host 15 seed Tenafly Cresskill Leonia. So TCL is back in a playoff spot. They also have the assuredness that just like them being knocked out of their conference tournament, Nutley Columbia Bloomfield, the team that had to deal with for the 16 seed, is out of the postseason, as is the team currently behind them, West Essex Caldwell. They're also out of their conference tournament. So that definitely helps TCL out there. And that would be at the Ice Vault and Wayne that they would face Wayne Hockey. So there you go. And now we will move on to talk about the top teams in the Big North, the way that we chronologize them. Ridgewood, number 1, of course. Only 3 losses, how strong they've been. Runner-ups for Team of the Year. Number 2, Northern Highlands. The Highlanders just put them ahead with their win in the tournament. Moving on to the second round. Ramapo, their highest jump up to the 3 seed. They've been winning as of late against some really strong teams, and now season swept. Pascack Park Ridge Hockey beat them in the regular season to stay alive momentarily for the division title at the time, and then beat them in the Gold Cup quarterfinals, 1-0. Right behind them is Pascack Park Ridge Hockey, right there. 5th is Old Tappan Demarest New Milford. Had to move them up with their win over Lakeland Hawthorne Waldwick and moving on to the semifinals of the Silver Cup. You got to adjust them to the Silver Cup. Fairlawn Dumont Bergenfield's tremendous upset over Wayne Hockey moves them up to 6. Wayne Hockey's lowest positioning in a while now dropped to number 7. 8 is the Paramus Triop of Paramus, Letters Mawa. How big they've been. Winners, they move on to the semifinal. They've moved on to the semifinals of the Silver Cup. So has Clifton United. They are 9th, right behind them in the top 10, and PCTI is 10th. Bulldogs moved on to the semifinals, so I had to put them in the 10th spot, and that is your top 10. Let's move on to the divisions now. I'll start with the division that already has been won. Ridgewood, 16-3. The Maroons have been as good as anybody, no question about that. Only 3 losses. 1 to Northern Highlands, 1 to Don Bosco Prep, and the other to Kinnelon Jefferson Sparta United. See how many games they have left. They do have the Ramapo game in the Silver Cup, in the Gold Cup, semifinals. And if they win that, they would have a Gold Cup final against Northern Highlands or Fairlawn Dumont Bergenfield. So far, their only game is spotted as the Ramapo game tomorrow night in Wayne. I mentioned right behind them is Ramapo. As well, the Raiders, 11-8. They have a game against Ridgewood. Big grudge match, but Ridgewood's already won their division. Wayne Hockey's stationed at 3rd, 15-5. Only 1 less win than Ridgewood, only 2 less losses than Ridgewood. In fact, 2 of the losses came to aforementioned Maroons. And then, of course, you got the 1 under 500 team in the Stars division, PCTI at 8-12-1. So there you go with that. Now we bring up the Big North Patriot. Well, for the first time in a while, this division can be clinched. Now, both of these teams are playing tournament games tomorrow. Fairlawn Dumont Bergenfield has Northern Highlands. Clifton United has Old Tappan Demarest New Milford. Both teams are not favored in their matchups. But, the records are really close. Now, Clifton United have more games to possibly win than Fairlawn Dumont Bergenfield. Fairlawn Dumont Bergenfield only has this tournament. And maybe they book a game if they lose to the Highlanders tomorrow. But the very most games that they'll have are 2. So Clifton United still have 3 games outside of the tournament. That they'll definitely have 3 games after tomorrow, either Morristown or Gold Cup or Silver Cup final. Let's play in PCTI or Paramus Letters Mawa. But the big thing here is they also have the opportunity to clinch their division in all possibilities. They face Clifton United on Monday. They win, or I think draw, actually. Right, because Clifton United is 3-2. So 3-2-1. Fairlawn Dumont Bergenfield would be 4-1. Yeah. So win or tie, since it's not a win or tie versus Clifton United on Monday at Montclair State would clinch them in the division. If Clifton United wins, then it depends how they win overtime and then you still have to get to the records. As we said, the most amount of wins that Clifton United can win are would end up being, I believe, was it 14 wins, right? Yeah, it would be 14. The most Farrell and Dumont Bergenfield can have is 12. Or wait, sorry, hold on. No, 15 actually, including the Farrell and Dumont Bergenfield win. So if they can, so if it is a win by Clifton United, then we have to wait later in the week to see if the division would go to them, and pretty much not. It wouldn't pretty much be up to Farrell and Dumont Bergenfield because they would have another game against Clifton United. I don't think after getting a playoff booked, I don't think they would book another game. Even if they did, it would still be highly unlikely. So it is going to hedge on that. But a win or a draw by Farrell and Dumont Bergenfield, they don't have to worry about it. They clinched the Patriot division. Clifton United is 10-8. They're in second place. As you mentioned, Farrell and Dumont Bergenfield has more losses, but because of the divisional wins and losses, being 4-1 in their division, one team that beat them and beat Clifton United, Riverdale Westwood Emerson, they're 9-8-1. They're kind of you want to think NFL, kind of like the Atlanta Falcons situation where you have a division with everybody jumping all over each other, topsy-turvy, and they lost too many games early on. So if they wouldn't have lost those divisional games early on, they wouldn't have been in a position to completely outright win the division. But because of their mishaps early, and that's why it is a long season, but it's short at the same time. Paramus Catholic 4-14-1. They are in last place in the Patriot division. And I will go to the North division. The Big North Freedom division. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Tenafly Cresca-Leonia was supposed to play Northern Highlands tomorrow. That's not occurring because the Highlanders are going to end up playing Farrell and Dumont Bergenfield in the Gold Cup semifinals. Pascack Park Ridge 12-6 in first place, but Pascack Park Ridge does play Tenafly Cresca-Leonia next week. How you doing, Clayton? Absolutely, for sure, of course. But Tenafly Cresca-Leonia is playing in Northern Highlands. Was supposed to play tomorrow. We don't know when they're going to book it, or if they even will say, well, it's not a division. The cup isn't really related to division. It's okay. We don't need this. Blah blah blah. Or if they do decide, I think what they'll probably do is they'll find a time to play next week. However, that's moot if Pascack Park Ridge wins. Now, if it's a tie, then Northern Highlands still has the opportunity to win their division. But if Pascack Park Ridge beats Tenafly Cresca-Leonia next week, and I looked at it, unfortunately, it's not. It's not. I can't think of the word. It's not going to be able to be tracked. Although I could do the show at the rink where they play in Englewood, but I don't know if Wi-Fi is available. So I'd have to probably figure out if that's available or whatnot or however. But regardless, if they do win against Tenafly Cresca-Leonia, which they should, they're favored. Pascack Park Ridge will win the division. So and that is on the 17th, which is next week. So win over win over Tenafly Chris Leonia on Tuesday, and Pascack Park Ridge would win the division. All they have to do is win no matter what happens. If they don't win, if they lose or they draw, then that opens up, would Northern Highlands book a game against TCL? When would they book it? All that stuff. But that's how that division would work. And Pascack Park Ridge already won 7-0 today over West Milford Pequannock Lake, Ponte Lakes. Speaking of them, in the Stripes division, 9-12. They do not believe they have another game scheduled. They will likely get another game scheduled to move up in the division if they can, although they tried that with Pascack Park Ridge. It is tough to schedule games with other teams. They do not have a game currently on their schedule. Maybe one comes up. We're not sure just yet. Ramsey Indian Hills in second place, 6-14. I believe they would probably try to schedule one. That's why we really would have wanted to win a game like that game against PCTI. They could have tried to get a playoff spot. Paramus and Smawa 10-9, although 10-9-1. Although they do have the benefit of the fact that TCL have a couple of games where they're not going to be favored, so maybe they could sneak in that way. But who knows? Paramus and Smawa 10-9-1. They're in third place, yet they actually have the best state playoff seed of any of the teams in this division. Lakeland, Hawthorne, Waldwick 3-17 in fourth place. Definitely there in the Big North Stripes division, which has been won for a month by West Milford, Pequannock, Ponte Lakes, the first team not only to win a division in this conference, but to win a division in hockey. So those are the divisions there. It's not to goalie average, it's so streaky. So here we go with the top 10 leaderboards, and then we're going to move on to our predictions of the semifinals. And I'll even predict the finals because we're not even going to have the finals set to talk about and predict before because they're on Friday. So we'll already have our finals and our graphics of those finals. We're going to have a lot of graphics next week, too, because we're going to have final graphics. Congratulations to the teams that made the playoffs from the Big North. Probably have big graphics on their playoff matchups. Next week's will be really, really fun because we're going to have a lot of stuff set. Matt Montana with 814 stops. I mean, this is ridiculous. Look at this. He has over 216 more stops than the second leading save total in the conference. What a goaltender is Matt Montana. 814 stops from West Milford, Pequannock, Ponte Lakes, specifically from West Milford. He's close to the totals that you're seeing, over 1,000 by Klaus Harthaus from Vernon in the Hoss-Charette division in the MCS IHL. Jack Feinstein with 598 stops from Fairlawn Dumont Bergenfield, specifically from Fairlawn. Lucas Egan, 575 stops from Wayne Valley, golfer and Wayne Hockey. They lost to them. In fact, it's funny, the majority of the Fairlawn Dumont Bergenfield roster are Fairlawn players, but it's great how there are players of other teams, and the other schools do support them. I was at the game and I saw a lot of Dumont shirts. I think I saw a Bergenfield hat or two. They're all in it for this tryout. It's not just the Fairlawn Cutters, despite the fact it's their main team and they have the logo on their logo and on their jersey. You got the Fairlawn lettering. There's no orange or anything with Bergenfield, but the Bears and the Husky student sections and fans, they support their team with the tryout for sure. Lucas Egan, we mentioned 575 stops with Wayne Valley for the Wayne Hockey. Thomas Canataro, the defensive minus end running back from football. That's a goaltender, 559 stops. I just don't see that. That's why I mention it all the time. Actually got to speak to the athletic director of Cedar Grove, who was his football coach. Loves Thomas Canataro. He's a great athlete, great young man, and a tremendous netminder for the Clifton United team. And he'll have his work cut out for him with that Northern Valley squad tomorrow. Dan Stolars, 548 stops for the Paramus Catholic Paladins, only a freshman, tremendous, definitely a guy that'll be a finalist for our Freshman of the Year category. And Dan Stolars, no doubt about it, is a premier goaltender. Only as a freshman, he is only going to get better with the Paramus Catholic Paladins. Tyler Rothschild, 489 stops from Pascack Park Ridge Hockey, specifically Pascack Hills, in sixth place. In seventh is Luc Lehero, 479 stops. He has been the Le Hero of the Ramapo Raiders. Oliver Grant, 433 stops in eighth place for Ridgewood. Grant and Lehero will do battle against each other tomorrow. Matthew Kaimoff, 433 stops for Northern Highlands. He'll do battle against Feinstein. And Nick Stylianesis, the goaltender for PCTI, the senior goaltender, 425 stops for the Bulldogs. Now we move on to the next category. Of course, around skaters, which is points. William Park, 69 points, approaching 70 on the season for the frontrunner for Defensive Player of the Year in the Big North Conference. He had 69 points so far for Ultapan Demarest New Milford. He is going to cause that Clifton United defense fits tomorrow. Joey Barraquario, 3 points behind, 66 points. He is a tremendous goal scorer that they're going to need for the state playoffs. WPQPL get there. AJ Lazaro with 65 points for Ridgewood. Tremendous goal scoring maven on that side for the Maroons. In fourth place is Timmy Ritchie with 65 points from West Milford, Pequannock, Pompton Lakes, from Pompton Lakes specifically. Scotty Stansfield, 59 points at fifth place with Wayne Hockey. Boy, can he score points, just 1 point away from 60. Play a game. I think he might be able to get it before the playoffs start. Dylan Ferlanti. By the way, we'll have stats. So what we're going to do is we're going to have stats separate for the postseason. We're not going to necessarily say the end of the regular season stats what they are, but we're going to have separate stats for the postseason. And then, obviously, after the playoffs are over, we'll have the full season stats. If nobody gets to the sectional final or the state championship, maybe we'll have them earlier. But again, there's some really good teams that are expected to go far. So we'll see how they do. Obviously, AJ Lazaro mentioned 65 points. Dylan Ferlanti's got 56 from Fairlawn Dumont Bergenfield, specifically from Fairlawn. Colton Lathrop, another Northern Valley player with over 55 points. He's got 55 points on the dot for Ultapan Demarest New Milford, specifically from Ultapan. Will Lazaro with 55 points for Ridgewood. Troy Canals, 54 points. He's starting to really get the passing game going from Tenafly, Cresca-Leonia. Another guy could win Defensive Player of the Year. And then Ryan Montana, 49 points in 10th place from the Clifton United squad, representing, of course, Cedar Grove. And from Clifton United, great point scorer in Ryan Montana. Now we move on to the assists mark. William Park, who leads the Big North in points, leads it also in apples and assists. 45 assists for him, specifically Ultapan, Demarest, New Milford, specifically Demarest. Joey Barraquario, just like in points, is right behind him. 43 assists from West Milford, Pequannock, Pompton Lake, specifically Pequannock. Scotty Stanfield's got 36 apples from Wayne Hockey, specifically Wayne Hills. Colton Lathrop, a lacrosse player as well, I believe, Stansfield. Colton Lathrop's got 35 assists. He's top 10 in points. He's top 4 in assists from Ultapan, Demarest, New Milford, specifically from the Ultapan Golden Knight squad. Timmy Ritchie's got 30 assists from Pompton Lakes and the West Milford, Pequannock, Pompton Lakeside. In sixth place is AJ Lazaro. He's got 29 assists. Right behind him, 1 assist shy, is his younger brother, Will Lazaro, with 28 assists. Also, Owen Dargan, 8th place, 28 assists. In fact, Owen Dargan was outside of the top 10, 26 assists, tied with Davin Friedman before today, but he had 2 assists today in their 7-0 rout of West Milford, Pequannock, Pompton Lake. So he moves from outside of the top 10 with 28 assists. Devin Bittner has 27 assists from Fairlawn Dumont Bergenfield. And 10th place, Davin Friedman with 26 assists from Northern Highlands in 10th place. And now we go to goals. Everybody loves goals. Who's potted the most? Back in front is AJ Lazaro with 36 goals. First place, the leading goal scorer. Can he get to 40 before the postseason starts? Strong possibility. Timmy Ritchie second with 33 goals, 3 goals shy of AJ Lazaro's mark. Dylan Ferlanti has 32 goals. He's in third place. That's something to watch as they have a cup game tomorrow. Ryan Montana, same thing. Fourth place with 32 goals. They have a cup game tomorrow as well. Troy Knaus, he's got 31 goals. That's his PL, but obviously it's TN, Tenafly from Tenafly Gresco Leonia. Chase Lavelle, 30 goals in sixth place from Ramsey Indian Hills. Will Lazaro in seventh place with 27 goals. He's top 10 in, not in points, but in assists and goals. Eighth place is Scotty Stansfield, 23 goals. Ninth place is William Park with 24 goals from Demarest, Ultapan Demarest, New Milford. And 10th is Colton Lathrop with 23 goals from Ultapan Demarest, New Milford. Those terrible twos, they've been in the top 10 in points, goals, and assists. They're the only duo from the same team to do that. Joe Barquario and Tim Ritchie are top 10 in assists and points, but not in goals. And AJ Lazaro and Will Lazaro are top 10 in goals and assists, but not in points. So only William Park and Lathrop are in all three categories. But tremendous stuff from them, which is incredible. Actually, do correction, the WPQPL duos, I was looking at saves accidentally. That's what got me distracted. They are both in that category too. But still, just some tremendous stuff. I'll tell you, I would love to see, because of the point scoring and some of the defensive play, although the goaltending switches in WPQPL's favor, I would love to see WPQPL and Ultapan Demarest New Milford play against each other in the state playoffs. That would be really, really interesting. Okay, and now that is it for that, and we move on to Silver Cup. Let me show you the gold. Yeah, no, they'll do the Silver Cup. Silver Cup semifinals, and then we'll predict the finals as well. And let's go to that. And we'll start with tomorrow, Ultapan, Demarest, New Milford, Clifton United. It does not have a time yet. I might be able to actually get it, because I know that the daily schedule, and the Ice Vault actually should have it. So that is an 8:15 start tomorrow. Oh, it's actually going to be interesting tomorrow, because I didn't realize that not only is the Big North tournament going on tomorrow, but there's also a Gordon Cup semifinal between St. Joseph Montville and Don Bosco Prep. But anyway, that is an 8:15 start. Ultapan, Demarest, New Milford against Clifton United. I think Clifton United is going to win this game, and I think Michael Montana is going to be a major reason why. 6-4, and I think Michael Montana has a 5-point night, 4 goals and an assist, and the game-winning assist to his brother, Uh, and so I have them winning 6-4 against Ulta Pandemrys New Milford. Going up against PCTI and Paramus Lyndhurst Mawa. I think Paramis's run does stop here. I think PCTI gets it done 3-1 over PML and they will win thanks in large part to Soder. And we go to the final. I think Clifton United is going to be the better team in this game, but I don't think they're going to win. 4-3 in overtime. Soder to Shambles, and Braden Shambles, I think, wins the Silver Cup in sudden death overtime over the Clifton United squad for PCTI. That is my pick. And Clifton United plays PML tomorrow. And that's that is a 5:45 start between those two squads. Well, there you go for the Silver Cup, and that's what I see. So again, I see Clifton United winning and PCTI winning, and PCTI winning the Silver Cup. Now we'll move over to the Gold Cup final. And we'll start with the 2-6 matchup. That is, I believe, a 7:45 matchup between Northern Highlands and Fairlawn Dumont Bergenfield. In that big game in the Gold Cup. Fairlawn Dumont Bergenfield have had some magic. I think it's going to be close, but I think it's going to feel close, but the scoreline won't be close. 6-3 Northern Highlands kind of bolt forward in the third period. So they have a 2-1 lead going to the third and then just busted open there with some great goal scoring. With Ben Barada being the major player with a 4-point night, and 6-3 Northern Highlands moves on to the Gold Cup final. Ramapo and Ridgewood. I think Ramapo tried to keep this close and low scoring, but Ridgewood eventually figure them out. Final 2-1 Maroons. It ends in regulation. And it's Christian Sherman. It's not Christian Sherman. Sam Sherman, who ends up getting the game-winning goal with 34.5 seconds to go. I just say 35. 34.5 seconds to go in the game, and Ridgewood wins. That is a 6:15 start against Ramapo. And so I have Ridgewood and Northern Highlands to the final, the Gold Cup final, the top two seeds. Second time they will match up. And I think Highlands is going to win 3-2. Not in overtime, but the Highlanders go up 3-0. They let up 2 goals by Ridgewood, but their defense just clamps down the Maroons. And so I have Northern Highlands winning the 2026 Gold Cup. I got PCTI winning the Silver Cup and Northern Highlands winning the Gold Cup. And there you go. So next week is going to be super fun for us. We're going to be talking about the semifinals and the Gold Cup and Silver Cup finals. We will be in very possibly crowning 2 division champions. It's quite likely that will occur. We will also be mentioning the state playoffs and who comes in and highlighting all of the playoff matchups, as well as doing some of the previews for those playoff matchups and our milestones. Next week, don't miss it. It is the final all in on Big North Hockey show of the regular season. Not of the season, but of the regular season. We are expecting at least half of the conference to make the postseason. All of the public schools are slated to make the postseason, and a large majority of the co-ops are as well. And it looks like Pascack, Park Ridge, Northern Highlands, and Ridgewood, at least just those three are, for now, could be more, are state championship contenders. So we'll definitely look at all that, but we will see you next time. I can't wait. The 17th, it's going to be a lot of fun, and we will talk and get you guys ready for the start of the state playoffs.